Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Sunday evening. You know what that means. It's region weather time. We've got a lot to talk about here this evening in terms of a major hurricane potential in the Gulf of Mexico. Things just went from 0 to 100 down in the Gulf of Mexico, and poor Florida is going to be in the path of perhaps another major hurricane in a matter of a couple days. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on national stuff, right? Because we're watching from Northwest Indiana, and that's what I want to bring you is a forecast for Northwest Indiana. So I'm very conscious of taking a lot of time to talk about national news when, you know, it really doesn't impact us, but a lot of people with friends and family down there. That's why we're going to cover that. Locally, though, it is cooler outside, and we're in store for a cool night tonight. We've got a very fall-like week out ahead of us. Just incredible how things have changed here now that pattern's moving again. And I see a couple shots, especially as we go long-range forecasts, where we've got some pretty chilly air coming our way, especially at nighttime. So we'll cover all that. First and foremost, want to say hi to our early bird, Jeff. Good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a nice weekend there, buddy. Mary's with us. Hello, Mary. Susan, good evening to you. Deb, thanks for joining us on Facebook here today. Ethan's with us. Ethan says, I've been Instagramming you recently, but you haven't responded. Ethan, I have a family of 4 kids, and I don't do social media very often. So that's why, buddy. So trust me, I barely spend time on my phone during the day. I'm spending time with my kids outside. We're off screens, and so that's why I don't often get back to a lot of people in a hurry. Because that's how it works when you have 4 kids and you want to be a good dad. Debbie, hello to you. Maxwell, can't complain about this weather, he says. And Paula, hello to you. Thanks for joining us here tonight. All right, let's get into the forecast. First and foremost, want to thank our sponsors, especially during quiet weather patterns. We really don't have much going on. I promise we will. It's going to get a little crazier around here as we get in towards the middle half of the month and then especially the latter half of the month. But it's been pretty benign weather-wise around here. Let's quickly breeze through our sponsors. FBI Buildings at the top there. They do pole barn construction. They've done over 20,000 pole barns, either renovating, reconstructing, or building brand new ones for commercial and residential properties. They do it all over the Midwest, but they do great work. You should check out their Facebook page at FBI Buildings, also FBIbuildings.com. So if you have a commercial property and you need a structure for that, or perhaps you've got a pole barn on your property that needs some fixing up, they will do both those things, FBIbuildings.com. One of our newest sponsors, Meals on Wheels for Northwest Indiana. They're an amazing organization. They're well known nationally, right? The Northwest Indiana chapter is looking for volunteers. So if you're looking to contribute to your community in any way, a lot of us have some extra time on our hands, especially, you know, during the week. Perhaps you're retired. Perhaps you have a part-time job and you're looking for something to kind of fulfill you in life. They need volunteers at Meals on Wheels, Northwest Indiana. They need people that can deliver the food, and you're not just doing that, you're delivering smiles. How easy is that? I mean, seriously, you are delivering love to people, and they'll set you up with everything for that. So they're looking for volunteers. You can contact Faith at 219-756-3663. You can also go to their website for more information, but they're looking for volunteers there here on that local chapter. PSA, those are public service adjusters. If you have an insurance claim, you don't go to your insurance company first. That's what you're taught. Don't do it. Go to PSA. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. What they do is they're licensed, local, insured adjusters, and they will come out. They'll take pictures of the issue, whatever that happens to be, and they will submit everything to your insurance agency for you, and they'll deal with the go. They deal with everything. You don't have to deal with anything regarding your insurance claim. They're amazing. People are like, why didn't I know about this sooner? Trust me, 5 stars across the board, publicserviceadjusting.com, all local to Northwest Indiana. Tigerplumbing.net is the place to go if you need a plumber. They are taking $30 off a service call for Region Weather listeners right now. Just let them know Region Weather sent you. A lot of you have. You love Tiger Plumbing. I know that. I love them. They're just fun to work with. And you can schedule on your mobile phone now, which is kind of cool. And you can take a picture of the problem. You can send the problem in so they know what they're dealing with before they come out. Plus, they don't charge to come out, which is amazing this day and age. Tigerplumbing.net. Minogue.life. If you have any questions around life insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, Michael Minogue is the guy for you. He's been doing this for decades for Northwest Indiana residents. He'll sort out exactly what you need in terms of life insurance. If you might be paying too much for life insurance, and this day and age, we need to save some money on things, right? He'll help you figure out exactly how much you need to your individual needs. He also wanted to point out there are substantial changes coming our way at the end of the year to Medicare Advantage plans, Part C, and prescription drug plans, Part D. for 2025, and you're automatically enrolled in these if you don't act now. And so if you are confused by it or anything like that, please contact him. The website is minogue.life. Again, it's Michael, wonderful guy. He's been serving and helping people in Northwest Indiana for decades. All right, one of our other newest sponsors is Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. She's amazing. She's great to work with. She's your local lender for all your mortgage needs. If you're looking to purchase a new home, perhaps you're looking to refinance, rates are down a little bit, right? Maybe you got locked into a higher rate over the last 2-3 years or so. She can certainly help with that. She will guide and support you every step of the way. She'll get you exactly what you need, the home you're looking for, the rate you're looking for as well. And she's a good negotiator too. You could check her out, which is good, especially if you're buying a home. Check her out on Facebook. It's Kate Cusack Home Loan Girl, or you can call and text her at reasonable hours. She didn't say that. I said that. 219-775-6645. Awesome to work with Kate. Finally, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've been serving Northwest Indiana for decades as well. Right on US 30 there, they got brand new Jeeps ready to go. They are beautiful vehicles. 4-wheel drive. Do you need it? I think you will this winter, because I see the question about La Nina. And yes, we are heading out that way towards La Nina territory. Looks like a weak La Nina, but let's talk about that in a second. And look at this. Angel said we just had Tiger Plumbing out recently. They're awesome. We've used them several times. Angel, thank you for that. All of our sponsors, I put my name behind. They're just all fantastic and local here in Northwest Indiana. All right. Thanks for letting me get through the sponsors. We appreciate them. This software that I use I just want to give you a kind of inside baseball. This software that I use to broadcast to you guys, they just quadrupled their rates. And I'm like mad about it, but I don't want to change anything. And that's the problem. And so many things are getting so much more expensive now. And we can't get away from it, right? I mean, groceries alone, all that stuff. But anyway, the software just is one example of the many things it takes to put together a broadcast, and subscription fees and all that stuff. These sponsors cover that, all right? And we're still comfortable with them doing that. They're comfortable with us doing that. And these rates quadrupled, and I'm mad about it. But thankfully, the sponsors keep it free. So we can keep doing these broadcasts, all right? I know we're all kind of pinched right now, so we appreciate them. All right, let's dive into the forecast. So I want to start because here's the deal. This, to me, this is you guys coming together on a Sunday night to talk to me about weather, okay? And I always want it to be an open kind of conversation, all right? So I've got a plan. I've got my story in line. I mean, that's what meteorologists do, especially TV meteorologists. We have to put the story together, right? We are our own producers, where we produce the story, we produce how we're going to tell it to you in an organized fashion, and we have to decide what's important to you, what's not, right? This is more interactive to me than a TV broadcast, right? So I want to jump to Tom's question first, okay? Tom says, still La Nina winter pattern. What can we expect? So Tom, we are heading into La Nina this winter. It doesn't look to be a strong La Nina, all right? And again, and I've covered this before, there are so many other variables that go into a winter. It's not just as simple as it's an El Nino, here's what it's going to be, or it's a La Nina, here's what's going to be. There's so many other variables, all right? There's a ton of oscillations that you can forecast and look at, and we still don't know as meteorologists exactly how they all play together, because they're all teleconnected. They all kind of do different things. And to me, it boils down to the fact that we're trying to forecast for a really small spot in the country, right? Northwest Indiana. And things can change on that spot all the time, all right? If we were to forecast for like the eastern half of the country as a whole and say, is it going to be snowy or not here? I think that we'd have more accuracy around that, but we're trying to forecast for Northwest Indiana. That being said, with the La Nina winter, I've gone back and I've looked at all of the weak La Nina winters that we've had. Okay, we're expected not to go into strong La Nina week one, and they have been snowier and they've been colder, all right? We are due for a snowy winter around here. And that's not to say that's what we're going to get. All right. We don't know. We can try to predict it. Predictions have gone wrong all the time in terms of La Nina and El Nino. And I'm seeing a lot on social media from these clickbait websites that drive me nuts as well. It's kids that are, I don't want to get into it. Anyway, they're blowing in our face what kind of winter it's going to be. And no one in April is going to go back and check their work or say, hey, you said this and you were wrong. They don't care. They got their clicks, they got their money from it, and they're out, all right? And that's what drives me nuts. No one's checking people's work. I check my work all the time, and I hate when I'm wrong, all right? And I'll tell you when I'm wrong. But in terms of this winter's forecast, I am leaning towards the cooler, snowier outcome. All right. That doesn't mean we're not going to have warm days. It doesn't mean we're going to have a whole month that's mild, right? But on the whole, the pattern looks like we're going to be settling up into more of a snowy winter, which doesn't say much because we've had a lot of kind of snowless winters around here recently. So that's just kind of what we're leaning, Tom. All right. So that's what I want to jump into in terms of La Nina talk. And I think that's it. We'll take it into the local forecast now. All right. Tina's with us. I see that. Ethan's ready for windy weather. Mariana's with us. I appreciate that. Let's see. No, Derek, I have not heard about the meteor last night. So if you guys know me well, I don't like to cover astronomy stuff because I'm not an astronomer. I'm a meteorologist, but somehow meteorologists get thrown into astronomy. It's fascinating to me, but I love to cover weather over that. But no, Derek, I did not hear about that. If you have any pictures or anything or some news on that, go ahead and send it to me on private message like you usually do. Maxwell, you're right on that. Absolutely. So there's that. Okay, so let's dive into the forecast, shall we? We've wasted enough time. I'm sorry. Here's what we're dealing with right now in the weather map. A really, really robust low pressure. This is a fall-like system. Look at this thing winding up over areas of the Hudson Bay and southern areas of Canada as well. For us, we didn't get impacted by this. We had explosive thunderstorms in northeast Ohio heading into Pennsylvania. There were tornadoes with that. We were part of that here, not the tornado part, but we went from clear blue sky to, we knew storms were going to develop, and boom, these clouds went up so fast, and we had large hail out of them. It was crazy. It's all east now, but for us here in the region, what we're dealing with is just a cooler air, the drier, cooler air, and a decent breeze off of this as this low pressure continues to funnel in. Clear skies, though, in our local region, everything off towards the north with this one. And then down towards the south, you can see before the sun starts to set there, that's Milton down in the Gulf of Mexico, Cat 1 hurricane right now. Okay, so we'll cover that. So here's a better look at Milton. So Gulf of Mexico, when I left work on Friday, in terms of the forecast, there's a lot of activity in the Gulf. There's a lot of thunderstorms. None of it looked to develop in anything major. No models were showing that. It was really distorted and kind of messy. Well, over the weekend, what's happened is we had a complex of thunderstorms that developed in that messy setup on this trailing edge of this front. And that complex of storms, as they can do this time of year, developed into a tropical entity. And that tropical system became tropical depression, tropical storm, and now it's a hurricane. That's what thunderstorm clusters do. These systems form off of a cloud originally, and then they form off of a cloud that becomes a thunderstorm complex. And it's just amazing how the tropics work. But this system is now in Milton, is now over, it's over open water in the Gulf of Mexico, but it's over bathwater. The Gulf is still running very, very warm, and there's nothing kind of steering this out of the way. Normally, when you see a hurricane here or a tropical system, it's going into Mexico. It's heading west, right? Going into Mexico, or it's going northwest into Texas, or even north into Louisiana. This is a different system in that Milton is kind of being pulled by this front that went through and the steering flow. And it's going to move from west to east, which I know that sounds normal because that's the way our storm systems come in here locally. But for tropical systems with the intertropical convergence zone moving from east to west, it's supposed to continue moving east to west. And this one's kind of moving backwards. And so what this is going to do with the path, this is expected to become a major hurricane as early as tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, but more than likely by Tuesday. This is going to be a major. Yucatan of Mexico is going to be impacted, the north shore of it especially, and then you see it kind of makes this turn up towards Florida. This system's going to come into Florida from a direction that's not usually seen, and so what that's going to do, that's going to bring storm surge, or that push of water, or that water rise from the push of wind over the ocean. It's going to bring storm surge into places that don't typically deal with a lot of storm surge, and it's kind of going to be from a different direction. So some inlets that don't typically flood with the tropical system may be dealing with, obviously some action around there. So I think my camera just became unplugged. I don't know if a cat's messing with it or what, but I don't see any changes on my end. You guys got your wish. You don't get to see my face. So that's that. I'm just getting alerts that my camera's unplugged and it's plugged in. That's always good. Anyway, as long as you guys can still hear me, there's that. All right, so this system's going to come in, and it's going to head into Florida from kind of an odd direction, coming in from the west. Tampa, St. Pete, down towards Fort Myers. Even Miami's going to get some storm surge off of this, but this is going to be a big national story by Wednesday, all right? How does this impact us here locally? It doesn't. It doesn't impact us locally. This whole system is going to stay down to the south. It's not going to come off towards the north. And so for us, as we go through time here, this is Monday into Tuesday. This low pressure is really our main game over the course of the first 3 days this week, because what this system will do is it will continuously spin off towards the north. We'll have some lake effect showers out towards the east, but not for us. But what the system does by spinning here is it continues to bring in a northwest flow. And so that continues to keep us on the cool side. So I've got a pretty cool start to the week. Tomorrow morning is going to be on the cool side. We'll likely stay in the 60s tomorrow. We're talking 60s to near 70 on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then perhaps back to the 60s on Wednesday, all because this low just continues to funnel in that cooler air. That low finally gets a boot. It heads out with whatever's left of Milton, and everything kind of starts moving again. And here you go. We're now into Thursday, Friday. We're still dry. We're dealing with a high pressure that's heading out towards the east. So we'll start to warm up by Thursday and Friday. In fact, well, not by Thursday, but by Friday, I've got us in the upper 70s on the backside of this high pressure. And then we deal with this system right here. This will be another front that comes through next weekend. As of right now, it looks to pass dry. Go figure, right? Every front has. So there's that. So we look dry over the weekend, but it will turn a little bit cooler again. Should fall back down to near 70 degrees. It does look to be a pretty comfortable weekend, but it will be cooler. And then here's where the action starts, right in mid-October. There's some kind of system that the models agree on this far out that dives out of Canada, and this front comes in from, obviously, the northwest. It spins up a low pressure somewhere in the Ohio Valley, and notice what it brings in. It brings in that shot of cooler air. We saw this last Sunday. This was showing up in the modeling, and we were talking about mid-October, perhaps having some kind of initial cool spell, which isn't out of the ordinary. This is climatologically average. We typically get cold spells this time of year, at least little hits of them. And this would be our really first shot at fall-like air, like true fall-like air, where you have to wear a jacket because it'd be windy too. This would be not this Monday, but the following Monday. So a week from today, basically, we would have some kind of active system in here. And this would likely, if this verifies, would kick off some lake effect rain. All right. I don't see any lake effect snow with it quite yet, but there's some snow up towards New England there. That's a little ominous. But anyway, that would head out, and then we would likely have a nice warm up out ahead of this western system. And this could spell a warm end to October here. Look at this ridge that starts to get established as this system kind of pushes in. We'll see how that evolves, but either way, we certainly have a shot of cooler air coming in here. So here are the temperatures. This is the Euro. This is deterministic. So this is the one I go off of the most. I'll tweak numbers based on this, but you can see here's tomorrow, Monday. It has us at 62. I've got us in the mid-60s. Depends on where you are. It'll be cooler near the lake. But notice it keeps us in the 60s pretty much all the way through Thursday. And then we warm up on Friday, and then we kind of cool down with that next system coming in mid-October with 50s for highs, all right, and maybe 30s for lows. So I do want to cover lows real quick, and this is all I have in terms of the forecast, because there's really not much coming our way. So I'll open it up to questions after that. I'll try to figure out my camera too, because it's kind of weird looking at a region weather logo. But look at low temperatures, and we're falling back into the 40s later this week. Tomorrow morning, waking up likely near 50. But 40s as we get in the latter half of the week with another high pressure. And then, we could be talking mid-October, the 15th. 39 is enough to produce some frost. So we'll see that. Skies would have to be clear. We'd have to have light wind around, but we could be flirting with frost potential into next week. We'll see. Again, this is climatologically is average around here. So this isn't earth-shattering news. And then, we'll keep an eye on Thursday morning. We could have some spots that do get down in the upper 30s, and that would be kind of problematic for that frost potential. But what we don't want, at least in terms of my selfish reasons, I do not want to end the growing season. I enjoy the growing season. I enjoy the plants that are outside and our garden, which continues to produce tomatoes, which we don't pick in time, which end up going to the bunnies or whoever gets them. But either way, obviously the freeze is what ends the growing season. The frost can certainly end that too. So it just depends on how it goes. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and answer any questions you have. I'm going to head around the other side of the computer here and see if I'll be right back in just a second. I'm going to see if this camera needs plugged in or not. I think it's lying to me. Okay. All right. I see nothing wrong on my end. So that's just great. All right. Talk about expensive software and everything's breaking. It's great. All right. So I appreciate you guys hanging tough here, despite looking at the region weather logo. That tells me that you are not in it for my beautiful face. So that's good. That's good news. Let's see. Mark is ready to bike ride for a little bit more. He says, let's not do this. I like bike riding in it. It's great. He wants to hold the snow off for another 6 weeks. Mark, we can do that. The way we've been going, we can do that. Maxwell asks a good question. Let me see. If we remain in a drought, could we have a milder winter because the ground heats up faster when dry? Maxwell, you are right on it, buddy. You are right on it. That's exactly true. Yeah, when you're in a drought, drought tends to breed drought. Like in the summertime, if you're in a drought, that ground can heat up even more and it can create even hotter conditions, which dries you out even faster. Now, in the wintertime, it does the same thing. If we're going to get cold in the winter, we usually have to have snowpack over us. All right. I just realized this is essentially turning into a podcast. We should just do a podcast. Just weird. It's just weird. I don't know. I like being able to like see myself because it tells me that I can see you guys. I don't know. It's just weird. Anyway, yeah, but Maxwell, you're absolutely right. Yeah, if we remain in a drought, we certainly could have a little bit warmer of a winter. We'll see if that happens. I have a feeling once we get into the heart of fall, like late October, November, I have a feeling we're gonna have some more active weather with some rainy systems around here, and I have a feeling we're going to get out of this drought, and I think we're going to do it pretty quickly. That's just my own gut feeling, but that's that. So we'll see. But you're absolutely right on that. Andrew, I just want to say thank you. We've watched you for years. We've always been our go-to for weather. Thank you for everything. Sadly, we're relocating to help find someone half as informative. Oh, Andrew, you're so nice. Andrew, you messaged me earlier this week letting me know about that, and I certainly appreciate that. Andrew, you've been great as well. Guys, Andrew, if you don't remember, is our one that every year he tells me when he gets his snowblower out, because when he gets his snowblower out, we don't get winter weather at all. The snow just goes away. It sees his snowblower and it says, I'm not messing with that thing. It's a Andrew, you still looking to sell that? We'll give you some free advertising if you want. But anyway, so Andrew's snowblower is going away. They have to relocate, and that means we're going to have a snowy winter. So a lot of people will base a winter on La Nina or El Nino. We base it on where Andrew's snowblower is. So there's that. That's just great. Andrew, you're going to be missed, buddy, for sure. You'll find some great meteorologists down where you're going. So I know a couple down there, and you'll be in good hands. They know hurricanes really well down there. So there's that, especially along the coast, obviously, a little different inland. Susan asked, did anyone see the Northern Lights? Did anyone see them? Because I know I didn't want to be the Debbie Downer, but I know, I had a couple posts going out saying that it wasn't going to be a big deal here locally. And to be honest, again, we have 4 kids, and we didn't really stay up too late. I don't have a lot of time to like head outside at 2 a.m. so we didn't do that. Maxwell, good question. You think our last 80 was yesterday? Maxwell, I could see another 80 coming our way, maybe late this week. I've got, is it Friday? Yeah, I've got Friday's high at 78. I could see us overachieving if that front's stronger. We'll see. I could also see us being cooler, like the models are saying. So we'll see where we go. But we're getting close to the last 80, Maxwell. So it very well could have been. Deb says, leave your snowblower. Yeah, you're not going to need it down there, Andrew. Ethan asks, are there any high wind systems coming? Ethan, wonderful question, buddy. Yes, I think the next high wind system, or really the first one that we'd have, and we had some gusty winds with the system just went through, it'd be this one right here. So, next Sunday into Monday, if this verifies, we can quickly jump over to the GFS, and it's got a similar scenario. I mean, here's the GFS. It brings in very strong winds. Actually, that's courtesy of a high pressure, but there's a low over here that develops. So the GFS has the same idea. Cool air spills down. Man, the GFS, I didn't look at this latest run. This is the 18Z. It's got snow mixing in with some of the rain in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York in a week from now, which isn't out of the ordinary, but GFS is cold on that. And then look at this, the GFS end of the month. This is the 20th and the 21st. It's bringing all sorts of wicked weather into the plains. I mean, there's cold air diving in. Look at the snow. I mean, we're setting up that boundary already where we have the cold air versus like real cold air versus the warm air. So we're getting into it, folks. Things are not going to be hunky-dory for long. They're really not. We've really had an exceptional last 2 months or so of quiet weather. So good question on that. Yeah, Mariana didn't see it. Okay, good. I mean, no, I don't mean good. I just mean we were trying to shoot down all the people on socials trying to waste your time. All right. And I feel like this aurora borealis thing, these northern lights, I know we had, the solar flare and I get it, but I just feel like we're seeing a lot more of that now. And social media is really, and maybe it's just my feed, but it's lighting up anytime there's a slight tiny risk of seeing it. Whereas, you go back last 20 years, we've had a lot of tiny risks of seeing it. I just feel like people are kind of overblowing it. So I just want you to know I will never overhype something. I will tend to underhype things for you guys, okay? Because I don't want you to waste your time because I don't like wasting my time either. So there's that. Yeah, Mariana, you're right on that. Now, Ethan, in terms of severe weather chances, we'll have to keep an eye. I don't see any this week, the rest of the week. We'll keep an eye on that cold system as it dives in, though, later next week. This one right here, I don't see too much of a severe weather threat with it because I don't think it will warm up enough. But anytime there's a big change of air masses like that, we'll have to keep an eye on it for sure. Okay, Maxwell, you've been seeing the same thing with that social hype. Okay, I'm glad it's not me. All right. All right, guys. I think I got through the questions. My little region weather logo is going to let you go here. I do appreciate you guys spending time with me, though. Seriously, thank you so much for taking time out of your Sunday. It means the world to me that I can sit down and gather with you guys. I mean, honestly, your family. We've been doing this for how long? And I honestly feel like I'm getting together with like an extended family every single Sunday. So I do appreciate that. I appreciate your questions. Guys, if you have not signed up for on regionweather.com, you can sign up for daily emails, which sounds like the last thing you would ever need, right? Is a daily email. But I promise I don't overdo it. What I do every single morning from a personal perspective is I'll do a bunch of radio hits for X Rock, for Indiana 105 and Z107. We'll do some talkbacks as well. And then what I'll go ahead and do is I sit down and I do weather graphics. And what I'll do is I'll create a weather graphic every day. I'll do a little type up with here's what's happening today. It's personal. It's not from an app. And I'll send it out. I'll post it on our webpage, regionweather.com. But if you're signed up for the email alerts, you'll also get an email that has that post directly in your inbox. So you can see the graphic I made. You can see the little write-up that we have every single day. It's super simple. There's not a lot of moving video. It's usually a still image. It's just a quick way for you to check your email in the morning. You get an update on what's happening weather-wise, the most important thing, and then you move on your day. And I know a lot of you like doing that. There's several hundred of you that get that. I don't get anything out of it, but I just think it's a simple way to kind of get the Weather Channel app off your phone for a second and focus on someone local who's writing a paragraph for you that's local. So there's that. Okay, so just want you to know that. Susan, thank you. I appreciate that. Mary, I appreciate the feedback. Mariana, thank you so much. I certainly appreciate that as well. And Maxwell, that is going to be the new logo. Please don't trust in any meteorologist. We're just trying to forecast the future. It's always fun. All right, guys, we'll get this camera fixed. We'll figure out what's going on. I'm going to come back with really long hair and no beard next time. We'll see what happens. All right, you guys have a wonderful end of your weekend here and have a wonderful week this week. We'll keep you updated throughout the week.